Hi everyone, my name is Eileen Burns and I'm owner of Stress Coach Training, and I thought I would do a video. Now, I don't actually often do videos that I promote on like Facebook, as in my main Facebook page or like my website. Most of my videos I do in my group. And I do have valid reasons for that, but I thought I would pop on and just tell you a little bit about me, why I got into stress management, and my journey, and why at this part of my business, why I do what I do. So I was someone that in my early 20s, I became so ill that I spent what you would call, as technically classed as housebound and bedbound. Okay, I was someone that, as an infant, I developed a very rare medical challenge, a condition. Okay, which in some ways they think it's partly an autoimmune and congenital. There's a lot of there's a lot of different views, but it's a very, very rare medical challenge. And then I started having like someone that had chronic health challenges in my teenage years, and then by the time I got to 19, I had a very unfortunate thing happen where I was mercury poisoned. Mercury was put up a root canal. Now, after that, things went really, really wrong for me health-wise, and I'll explain what. But also, something else that happened. I had been bitten by something at 14. I had a lot of strange symptoms, wasn't really sure what it was. I remember having to take several weeks off school. And it wasn't till probably 5 or 6 years ago I discovered that I seen what looked like a bull's eye rash for Lyme, for tick bite, and I realised that that was probably what had been the cause of a lot of very, very rare medical challenges that I was classed as having severe ME, and I did have all the symptoms of ME, but I also had very rare medical challenges like paralysis. I had threatened eye loss. I had a hole in the eye, and I developed lots of rare medical challenges that very few doctors, they really couldn't explain what was going on. And one of those was, the last 5 to 6 years, I developed it's classed as kind of non-epileptic seizures, but a complex movement disorder, an extreme horrendous pain to do with noise, which would trigger seizures, which made me become housebound. But the reality is, I started on this holistic road about 30 years ago. So I was someone that intuitively, I've obviously been highly empathic and highly sensitive, so I was very attuned to going down more a natural way of being, right? But the reality also was, for me, that mainstream, no matter who I was seeing, specialists, I was sent to specialists upon specialists, and nobody could do anything. And they even said to me some of the things that they could give me, they felt could actually do more harm. Some of them didn't. They wanted to give me things and use me as an experiment. But the reality was that I didn't seem to get much help, and in most cases they just didn't want to know. Okay, and what happened, I went down the holistic route, and the holistic route was very interesting for me. It gave me new insight, but also showed me that a lot of holistic, not everything, but there were some aspects of the holistic industry that were actually more advanced than mainstream medicine. So a lot of things that holistic were able to kind of diagnose me with or suggest that there was issues, it took me 10, 20 years to get those diagnoses through mainstream medicine and for them to discover. So that was one of the things that happened to me. But one of the things was, I learned a lot about to support myself with a more mental resilient. I was quite I would say, as a child, I was an anxious child, I was a fearful child, I was a very sensitive child, so very empathic to other people's energy and stuff, so I could pick up things. I wasn't the most confident child, but I pushed myself as a teenager and pushed myself later on. And one of the things that happened to me because of my circumstances, I also faced a lot of discrimination, for anyone who's ever had the diagnosis of ME, unfortunately, and 30 years ago, it was still not that much better, but it was very discriminating, and people believed it was a condition of the mind. And unfortunately, a lot of people who have maybe just a more adrenal fatigue or chronic fatigue, sometimes it's all put under this umbrella now. But I faced that. So what got me through? Well, these things like meditation got me through, lots of tools and techniques. And I wanted to be able to empower others that no matter what circumstances that they faced in their life, no matter what odds were stacked against them, that they could have some sort of quality of life, and that mentally and emotionally they could cope. Because the reality is that we all can face lots of challenges in our life, and it's not about the challenges, it's about how you deal with the challenges. So that is why I went down the holistic and stress management route. I started with like Reiki and meditation, and then I went on and I studied lots of different things, and holistic therapies. Also studied nutrition. I didn't get to complete that, but I did things like I went in to do counselling, psychotherapy, CBT, and I studied stress management up to university with life coaching and, as I said, CBT. And lucky for me, I eventually got into teaching a lot of these disciplines in charity sector, the health sector, the education sector, and I loved what I did. I absolutely loved what I did. But the reality for me, unfortunately, because I developed, I nearly died of sepsis. I had life-threatening sepsis, and after that, I just had more complications, and I was left with a lot of weakness down the right side, and a lot of the neurological challenges that I had before sadly get a lot worse. And I had this noise sensitivity that was very disabling, which wasn't just about pain, but it's what you call a complex movement disorder, which meant that I had no control over my body. So I can appear very relaxed and calm here because there is no noise. Unfortunately, sometimes when I'm exposed to noise, that you wouldn't recognise me in the way that my body reactions, because it's so extremely painful and because of the weakness that I have. Now, I am someone that believes that we all have our demons in our life. We all have things that happen that are positive, and some things that are not so positive. And an example of, if you look now at the COVID-19 situation, but the reality is we mind over matter in relation to being able to be as resilient as possible. And the tools that I share in the stress coach training are mostly aimed at coaches and therapists, because I've been training in this field for a long time, and my skills is actually helping people be great coaches and therapists. That's my skills, because I've taught, and I'm very much about safe and effective use and using the right tools, even things like meditation for people, and making sure that you're choosing the right for the level of anxiety or stress, or even trauma, or even to do with their medical conditions. But I also offer a variety of courses and free courses for anyone that is suffering from different levels of anxiety and stress. And the reality is that in some level we all have some sort of stress. Stress doesn't just come mentally, and I think a lot of people forget that stress actually comes through. Also, there can be stressors in relation to toxicity, to our environments, the things that we consume. These are other stressors that many of us actually are. Even if you think of electronic and the EMF, these are all things that can, in the wrong doses, can actually impact and can be stressors to our well-being. And I think more than ever, it's really, really important that we take time to reduce our anxiety and stress, and we learn to do things that help us be more in the moment. And one of the most powerful things that I think everyone should learn is actually how to meditate, because we have got into a society that actually has really conditioned us in a very, very unhealthy, distorted way. Most of us are living a way of life that is not in balance with our natural, what I believe is a natural soul, our natural, or the way we should be living. We're living this life of very much driven by the ego and by fear and survival, and this thing that we need to be successful, we need to do, we need to be someone, we need to have this title, a role, to feel as if we have some sort of value, when the reality is every single one of us are enough. Yes, we all have a purpose and a part to play, but at a core level, we're all enough. And that's part of what I teach as well. So I hope that you've enjoyed listening to this video, and you maybe understand a little bit more why I have created stress coach training and some of the ethos behind myself and my business. So thank you for watching. Bye for now.